How about this for a panel? Tonight I'm joined by Tim Blair, the blogger to The Nation and Daily Telegraph columnist, and also Mark Nicholson, the genius behind Pauline Hanson's Please Explain cartoons. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Give us, first up, your thoughts on how Albo started the year. How do you reckon he's going, Mark?
Horribly, mate. As predicted, it's delightful to watch. It really is. There's something sick inside me, I think, that's just enjoying this now. Like, it's all happening. This is exactly what we want from a Labor government. It's just like Rudd and Gillard. The knives are out. The wheels are off the wagon. They're hurting each other. They're fighting. They're not getting along. This is exactly what we want. It's horrible for the nation, but it's so good for entertainment. Yeah,
it's so good for your cartoons, no doubt. But Tim, tell me this, riddle me this. We've all been watching this political game for so long. How does he think he can break such a central promise and just get away with it? I mean, surely the whole nation now just doesn't believe anything he says.
The key word in what you're talking about, Chris, is central. And we all remember, John Howard talking about core and non-core promises. But that's, he was made fun of. But all politicians act by that. They all have their core and non-core promises. Yeah. Albo's promise is as core can be. He repeated many times during the election campaign and afterwards. No plans to change. There must have been plans to change a long time ago, because you can't institute an alteration to a policy of this magnitude without there having been a long-term plan. It's not like, you just wake up one night and think, oh, let's watch some Netflix. This was planned a long time out, and everyone knows he's lying like a clown about it. Yeah, it just undermines all their credibility. I had to laugh today. I'm going to show this again. I showed it at the top of the program, but there's talk from Labor insiders, including Cameron Milner, saying that Albo and his treasurer, Jim Chalmers, just don't talk to each other anymore. So the finance minister out this morning saying that's bunkum. Have a look.
I work closely with both of those guys, and I can tell you they are good mates. They work closely together, and it's great to work with both of them. And particularly over the last couple of weeks, we've been in daily contact and working really closely together on finalising the tax cuts package.
Yeah, daily contact, Mark. What, like David and Goliath?
That's another lie, isn't it? You can tell. It's like, it's bad when you have to send Katie Gallagher out there. If Katie Gallagher says it, guys, it must be true. She's never lied before in her life. There is so much blood in that caucus room at Labor. It's ridiculous. Let's be honest. Just be honest about it. That's all we want.
Well, this is the point, Tim. We got the broken promise, but Katie Gallagher's already been exposed for telling untruths when it came to the Brittany Higgins affair. So if she says these two are getting on like a house on fire, we presume that they're just at each other's throats.
Well, we've got to think about the strategy here. It could be that Katie isn't telling an untruth at all. It could be, however, that both Jim Chalmers and the Prime Minister are talking through her. You tell the Prime Minister that, and then let's come back. Here's an alternative plan. Mark, whose Albanese impersonation is probably the finest in the country, why don't we get him to stand in as an intermediary? He can do the Albo voice. He can talk to Chalmers. He can talk to the country. He does every week on YouTube, and we can expand his role a little bit. And he can be the real Albo.
That's the problem, Mark. Nothing you say in that Albo voice again will ever be believed.
No, and sometimes with this cartoon, because it is set in school, the whole Please Explain cartoon, there are times where real life is playing out more silly than what we do in the cartoon. But Tim, your offer, if we can get that to the PM, I'll be more than happy to stand up and moderate the conversation.
Well, I mean, you talk about life being more bizarre than satire. Have a look at this. I can't believe Albo actually said this only about a year ago.
I've always been a man of my word, and I believe that when you go to an election and you make commitments, you should stick to them.
Yeah, and Tim, as I sit here talking to you, I've got the world's greatest mullet.
Well, but again, you've got to look at the precision of Albo's language. He said he's a man of his word, singular. He didn't specify which word that was. And I'm also reminded throughout all of this, I've got a story up here from 2014 from The Australian. Malcolm Turnbull says claims that he's plotting to overthrow Tony Abbott are unhinged, crazy, and bordering on demented. So let's see how we go with old Jim Chalmers thing, shall we?
Now I'll tell you what, I got to rip through these Johannes Leek cartoons again with you guys and show you what he's got planned tomorrow, because what he's done with this Voice Treaty Truth T-shirt has been brilliant. That's when Treaty and Truth get cut off, and then the next cartoon he's got the Treaty and Truth sewn back on for a different audience, and then in the next iteration we see that the voice is gone because he lost the referendum. He's only got Treaty and Truth left, and then of course when he broke his promise, there goes Truth, and he's only left with Treaty. So I was wondering where Johannes was going to go with all of this, and he's given us a sneak preview of tomorrow's cartoon, and here it is. He's got Albo in the Treaty tank top saying, "We have plans to change negative gearing," and the other one says, "We have no plans to change negative gearing." And this is the trouble with deep fakes. You know, this is AI-generated disinformation. We just don't know which one is the fake. Would you like to hazard a guess, Mark?
Oh, bravo, Johannes! You've done it again, mate. That is so good. You know what's good art like that when it happens, when it inspires like a jealousy and envy in another creator, and that's one it's got me rolled up.
Well, the thing is, though, Tim, the whole country now wants a treaty, because if Albo rules out a treaty, Johannes is going to have to draw him naked.
Yeah, it looks like Johannes has got a separate, like a side gig over at Channel 9 doing their Photoshop work, because didn't they produce some clothing during the week, Albo style? Like they suddenly introduced a bit of a midriff action.
Just copying Johannes. You're spot on.
I'm going to be just a bit of an alert to look at Hannes's paycheck at the moment. He's getting it from all sides at the moment. It's terrific.
He's doing the graphics at Channel 9. Brilliant stuff.